Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know what? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's campaign is pretty awesome. Now ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this video because honestly, I need to be a little bit more positive when it comes to gaming. Now I know that some people be like, whoa, is this guy actually saying a Call of Duty game is good? To be real with you, one of my favorite guilty pleasures of Call of Duty games are their campaigns, okay? Like, we can always talk about how much of a corporate game Call of Duty is, you know, battle passes, skins, everything. You know, it literally is like the perfect AAA game for a company to make billions of dollars off of. But at the end of the day, Call of Duty games are pretty feature complete. They usually come with a pretty stacked multiplayer mode on launch. They usually come with a decent cooperative mode. I'm always a huge fan of COD Zombies, and I love me Spec Ops, okay? Not Modern Warfare 2019 Spec Ops, where you just constantly got pounded with juggernauts and insane enemies. But, you know, the campaigns are usually something I look forward to. And I'm actually working on a video where I'm, like, tier listing and reviewing every Call of Duty campaign because they're all just so good. Now, genuinely, if you ask me the best COD campaign, I'd say Infinite Warfare. It's beyond one of the best Call of Duty campaigns. You've got Black Ops 2, you've got effectively the whole original Modern Warfare trilogy. Now, MW2 is a game that's coming out tomorrow, but the campaign's been out for a week already. People who pre-ordered got early access. And, you know, I played through the whole campaign all within the first day of its release. And I played it on hardened difficulty, not veteran, not realistic, just hardened difficulty, the way that I usually do a first run for a COD campaign, okay? I'm not trying to pull my, like, pubic hairs off one by one with cheap AI, okay? I'm just playing the game like normal. Now, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign is a campaign that is very reflective of the original Modern Warfare 2, alright? In a way that if you played the original Modern Warfare 2, and I recently just played it a few weeks ago, I played the remastered version, and if you play Modern Warfare 2's campaign, a lot of the characters are very similar. You've got Captain Price, you've got Soap McTavish, who was like the original protagonist for like the original COD trilogy. You've got, you know, characters like Ghost. I haven't seen Roach at all. You've got Gaz, and of course you've also got, you know, General Shepard, which was the original game's like villain, and you've got Shadow Company, the private military company that you have to fight at the later half of the game. So a lot of these characters come back, and one of the downsides for this campaign is it does not subvert any expectations. If you played the original Modern Warfare 2's campaign, you'll very quickly identify who are the bad guys just based on their names and affiliations and whatnot, okay? There's a few new characters like the Mexican Special Forces and an entire cartel that you basically work against, but generally the exact playbook of Modern Warfare is pretty similar, okay? You're hunting down bad guys, one bad guy gets away, sets up a pretty big terrorist attack that's going to happen on US soil, and you work as Task Force 141 trying to stop that shit. Now, generally, I want to get into this game because it really does feel like a great campaign, and I feel like a lot of the Call of Duty campaigns have been absolute showstoppers since Modern Warfare 2019. I may not have liked Black Ops Cold War as like a multiplayer game, but I absolutely love the campaign. I still think to this day it has the best level in it when you're infiltrating the KGB. Vanguard storyline is relatively decent, but Modern Warfare 2 is just a cut above. Every mission in this game feels genuinely varied in terms of like all the cool stuff that they offer you. One of the things I liked about the original Modern Warfare 2 was literally when you went off the back of Call of Duty 4, it would just instantly load you with something unique every mission. I still remember how cool it was to find a Predator drone missile in Modern Warfare 2, immediately call that up, and just launch missiles from the sky down. I thought that was super cool in its campaign. You got access to it for a few minutes, but it blew me away. With Modern Warfare 2, like the new one, there's definitely like missions like that every step of the way. Every single mission's got something unique going for it, and visually it's an absolute jaw-dropping game. There have been missions like Amsterdam where you literally walk around with the Central Intelligence Agency, and I swear to God, this might be one of the best visual representations of Amsterdam that I've seen in a game, period. You literally walk around this place sneaking around. There's so many NPCs, so many reflections, so many different like pieces pieces of detail around the city that it just completes an entire scene. Literally, they absolutely outdid themselves with the visuals over here. The closest you get to like some controversial style clearing house mission is like very early on in the game, where you literally spawn in and you're hunting down two guys. Well, you're hunting down the main bad guy, but you actually infiltrate like 3 or 4 different buildings and you clear them out. Like, so you're literally walking around these locations with your rifle in your hand, and these guys could literally pop up out of the ground. They could run at you. I mean, they literally hide. They like close doors behind you and chuck grenades. And literally, you have to be so careful clearing it. Every single mission that's offered in this game has its own unique touch to it, and I really do like it. Now, one thing that I definitely have a bit of a downside to when I say that is in the beginning of the game, it kind of warns you that there's some really disturbing imagery, yet there's nothing in the game that's like remotely disturbing. I think there's nothing in this game that matches the real horror of Modern Warfare 2019's Piccadilly attack level, where like Piccadilly Circus in London is getting like absolutely rated. It's like left, right, traumatizing event, and you're witnessing it, you know, in real time. Now, of course, even beyond that, there's so many callbacks to the original Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare, you know, in terms of people literally quoting direct lines from the original trilogy. You've got mentions to Gillies in the Mist. You've got all these different references, and it just hits you the right way because it clearly is there for the people that have played the original trilogy, and it's much appreciated. There's a lot of stealth-oriented levels where you're literally sneaking around the area, and it's like that original stealth where, like, you know, it's very much on rails. You have somebody that you're sneaking with, and you're basically taking pot shots. It's super cinematic, super cool, super appreciated. But one of my favorite levels in the game is one that they call Alone, where like you start off completely injured, okay? Like you're literally limping around the level. And the real gimmick with this is they turn it into like kind of a survival horror deal where you have to find items and you have to craft traps like shivs, everything in order to have like a fighting chance against the people hunting you down. And as you're sneaking around slowly, it pays to explore it like a Resident Evil game where you're like scrounging for all these locked items, picking them open. And at one point you find like adrenaline shots that like get you back into the action. And it's filled with dialogue between Soap and Ghost. And it's just perfect all around. Like, it literally is probably one of the most immersive Call of Duty levels I've played. Playing it on a harder difficulty, you get like the fear of God when you've got all these enemies with like crazy armors, you know, crazy weapons, and you literally have like maybe a shiv in your hand if you're lucky. One of the other things about this game, too, is that the enemy variety is a little bit lacking. Like, for instance, you know, in Call of Duty games, you typically just have, like, enemies that you just take pot shots at. But here, they kind of add something new to it. They have, like, a few Juggernaut enemies where they're, like, enemies that have, like, armor attached to them. And, you know, if you're good at taking headshots, then you can basically cut through them with relative ease. But that's really when it comes to the enemy variety in the game. Not that that's necessarily shocking. Like, at the end of the day, it's a Call of Duty game. It's not meant to have, like, 7 or 8 different enemy types whatsoever. It's just supposed to be a movie that you can basically interact with. And in that case, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 does absolute wonders. There's literally so many callbacks to this game that it's, if you're somebody that loves fan service, this is going to put a big ass smile on your face. Now, generally, that's all I can really say for the positives of it. I think the writing isn't necessarily anything crazy. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of the characters you'll see are characters from the original Modern Warfare 2, and they do not change their, like, you know, they don't change if they're good or bad guys. Like General Shepard, it shouldn't surprise you if he turns out to be a piece of shit. Because if you've played the original trilogy, you just know where things are headed to, okay? And I think that kind of sucks, because as somebody who's jumping into this game, when I see those characters, I'm like, hey, it's awesome. But they try to make these characters seem so cool, like they're never going to betray you. But you know deep down what's actually going to happen. You know Shadow Company's not to be trusted. You know General Shepard's not to be trusted. Get out of here. But of course, even beyond all of that, I think one of the other really big negatives is the writing, of course. Like, there's literally one line in this game where it's like, there can't be a war on drugs if there's a war on terror. Like, the cartel chick actually ends up saying it, and it's laughably bad.
Terrorism is good for business. It's insurance.
What the fuck does that mean?
¿Puedes sacar la puta cabeza del culo por un segundo? ¡Puta madre, Alejandro! As long as there is a war on terror, there will be no real war on drugs. find your so-called terrorists and your missiles, you need me.
But like, I'm getting into a lot of tangents over here. I really wanted to just express my thoughts on the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. I think overall what I played was a pretty decent campaign. I've seen it get really bad reviews, like IGN gave it a 6 out of 10. And I honestly don't know what they expected, because at the end of the day, it's a Call of Duty game. If you walked into this expecting some crazy, like, revolutionary gameplay, you're a little insane. You played yourself. At the end of the day, it's a game with pretty decent gun mechanics, generally unique levels and interesting, tidbits for each of those levels. And the campaign is not as long as you would expect. It's around average Call of Duty length. I think it's somewhere around like 16, 17 missions. I finished it in a day on hard and difficulty. Honestly, it was not that bad. I will say, given its length, it was paced absolutely perfectly. There's not a level in this game that I generally look back at and think, man, I wouldn't want to play that again. As a whole, this is a campaign that I'll probably be revisiting like a few years down the road. But yeah, overall, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, pretty good game so far from the campaign. Obviously, the multiplayer launches tomorrow, Spec Ops launches tomorrow. Maybe that's good. Hopefully it's good. But ladies and gentlemen, if it's one thing that I can say is, if you're not going to get this game for the multiplayer, at least wait until like a $20 sale hits, okay? Just to try out that beautiful ass campaign. Because let me tell you, Call of Duty games, as shitty as Activision and Call of Duty can be, their campaigns are always, admittedly to me, guilty pleasures. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am